So if there is such a thing as perfect realization, is there also such a thing as imperfect realization? And is there then a progression to talk about?
Well, there obviously is a progression in terms of practice and purification, obviously. You can realize that very perfectly. It's got to be a progression. And it better be sooner than later. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Refinement as such is infinite. So it's not like, well, can I do it for 2 years? Will I be better in 3? Or will it take the whole 50 years? It's up to the individual. Mm-hmm. So you can have a clear understanding of what the intellectual realization is about. Because then it's just what you read and what you comprehend. But that in itself is not realization. We can say that's realizing the intellectual meaning of whatever it is that is called realization. So realization traditionally means making something so real, that's all there is. Or living it from the level of it is all there is. And that would be called something along the lines when that is perfectly realized as such. I mean, when there's nothing else, no trace of anything else. Theoretically, it would be perfect realization. There's nothing else. That's all there is. Mm-hmm. Absolute. Here-ness, now-ness, beingness. No resistance, not a trace of resistance to being here now. Zero. You can't even think about it. So it's not that you wouldn't think about it. You can't. Right. Mm-hmm. So then, perfect realization, apart from any implication of relative realization, knowing a little bit about it, having a little bit of experience, going in and out of it as a condition of reality. And there's the perfect realization is no realization. It's so perfect. It's gone. So let alone tolerating that concept, you have to enter the condition of that concept. And in the traditions, it's generally in the presence of other beings who can confirm it, test it, play with it, challenge it, demand of it, enjoy it, access it, and transcend it.
So we've been doing videos for many years now, and it seems like you've answered all of my questions already.
So are we done? You want to quit? You want to pack up?
But there's still this evolution, this unfolding, and this progression.
Well, for some people, Buddha is nowness. Nowness is the Buddha. By the Buddha, we mean awakening. Awakenment. It's present. If we add to that, intelligence is infinite, so you can be asked a question a million times, it may be different. Every time, because every time is different. Mm-hmm. Every time then speaks for itself. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's some poetic beauty in that. Mm-hmm. Every day seems to be like the same day, right? How many days have you experienced in your life? The same but different, yes? Mm. That's your point. Translated into universal or more cosmic experience.
Yeah. And it seems like even though I may feel or believe or actually know something, asking the question doesn't seem to be invalid.
Under the conditions, you're not asking for yourself. So that makes it valid. I've said before, the heart asks its own questions. Peace asks its own questions. Say. Truth asks its own questions. The heart asks its own questions relative to the universe, not your emotions, but relative to the reality, which begs realization even now. It begs recognition even now. It begs merging. It begs the urge to merge with itself as the only real. From the All-Knowing Nothing, Chapter 2. If you can't be alone, forget about it. If this is not for all beings, what is the practice of non-practice? The practice of no mistakes. And who as what benefits from it? Listen to all sounds, and sound all listening. Listen to all views, and sound all views. Hear this. Hear into hearing. The Buddha said, hear beyond hearing. All sounds are not all sounds. All views are not all views. Hearing beyond hearing, listen into silence and realize beyond all good and bad, all deafness, dumbness, and blindness. Listening beyond the sound of sounds, you hear clear beyond structure and space. Hear to penetrate. Penetrating through the view of no views, you enter hearing into clear, silent heart space. Such entering is self-liberating. If you cannot be alone, how can you be aloneness? If you cannot comprehend the grace of aloneness, how can you be free of anything? If you cannot be free of anything, how can you be free at all? Can you hear beyond egoic self, mechanical thought, reactive mind, and imagination altogether? Can you transcend every world of appearance and meaning and rest beyond all worlds and conditions as profoundly liberated peace? The ego acts like an untamed horse. Such an ignorant horse is not superconsciousness. The ignorant, sleeping ego is a monkey, which keeps one in stupor consciousness. No wonder you are sick and appearing unhappy, confused, and divided. Burn your self-glorified, confused animal nature and awaken the guru nature of clear hearing. As a sick monkey, all your relations are sick. However, When your relations are your enemies, you are making good progress.
Phew.
Extreme attachment is sickness. True healing is detachment. Proper detachment is the stillness of free action. Such dynamic stillness is liberation, peace. All-pervasive peace is the warmth of emptiness. Radiant emptiness is pure blissful awareness. Hearing into the bliss of awareness is listening to Huda nature. Huda nature is liberated, serene awareness. How can any formless truth be a truth? How can any truth be a truth? True truth is the fullness of voidness. Voidness being nirvana is void of itself. Void of itself, a practitioner is not a being. It is neither an individual nor conformist. Therefore, a practitioner means one who is not other than the living silence of heart radiance. The Master is nothingness. The Master is nothingness realized. Realized, the Master is no nothingness realized. As such, the Master is the no one realization. Unlock this mystery. Self-liberate from all relatives, loved ones, friends, enemies, strangers, spirits, demons, extraterrestrials, and gods here now. Only in knowing the true nothing can you know what you need to know beyond creating or imagining mistakes, errors, consequences, and concerns. When all personal, familial, and impersonal psychopolitics are avoided, the true nothing reveals the created uncreated. Then the uncreated are neither uncreated nor created. Who and what regresses or falls apart in the presence of an enigma? Is it your I, your me, your mine, or your imagined other? Is it yourself, your thought, your word, or your memory? Is it your image, your reputation, your character, or your security? Is it your culture, your education, your career, or your politics? Is it your purpose, your intention, your mission, your fantasy, your dream, your nightmare, or your wish? Is it your family, your relatives, your relations, your friends, your enemies, or your lovers? Is it past, present, future, or beyond? Is it your tendencies, drives, programs, or instincts? Is it your religion, your aspiration, your ideal, or your expectation? All of the above are regressions. All of your conversations are regressions. All of your conceptualizations and perceptions are regressions. All of your speeches, your actions, your trips, and your hopes and dreams are regressions. All of your fears and worst nightmares are regressions. All expression is regression. All impression is regression. All of your feelings, emotions, desires, and ambitions are regressions. Every single thing created is neither created nor uncreated. This is especially true when you are continuously recreating yourself into unconscious, negative self-building karma. As you see, unconscious regression is the norm for non-practitioners. Everything said and done is simply unconsciously created uncreatedness.
what's the function of pain or pressure as it relates to practice and unfoldment?
Be a pain in your butt, of course. Give you something to practice about. But that's life. That's not just what you perceive. It's not a feeling. It's everything. It's called an awakenment. Being the victim, being suffering. So suffering food any different from suffering sleep, suffering awakeness, being awake, see, in a smaller sense, awake, see, just being alive. See. Is it different? You have a bad memory, is that any different? You have physical pain, you have a break a leg, is that any different? Is the thought of suffering any different from suffering the thought? We're talking about appearances. No, not talking about anything important. The whole idea of meditation practice is so that you have no doubt about there being more than your suffering and neurosis. And that you're supposed to find roots in that clarity. But you're supposed to abide as what is true in that clarity, instead of in your fabulous neuroses. And all of your fabulous friends who are neuroses channels. Not that they have to be, no one has to be. No one has to suffer, but everyone suffers. Most suffer. They suffer the suffering of other beings. They suffer the suffering of their ancestry. It's born suffering. Inborn suffering. Neuroses, memories, thoughts, feelings, ideas, desires, ambitions, all suffering. All juicy wood for the fire. All of it unnecessary, yet compellingly powerful.
Yeah.
Because when you have certain experiences along the way of your absolutely valid and extraordinarily painful imagination, or when you come upon Dhyan, or a stillness, presence of stillness, you can find your suffering. Did it disappear, or did something appear? So what appeared to make it disappear? Did anything appear? Does anything really appear and disappear? Zero Heart Space, Chapter 9. The indescribable compassion of no one. Fullness is empty of fullness. Is I really me or you? Or are you really you or an I? Isn't God the great no one who never lived apart from its self-created ideation, conception, creation, who was in fact every perception, impulse, wave, burst, motion, quality, force, presence, form, formlessness, thing, object, subject, world, sun, moon, solar system, galaxy, supernova, nebula, universe, the void. The universe is exploded from, and the gooey plasma it may be sucked through as it returns to its mysterious sourceness. Wouldn't the Creator be all of this and more of itself than can be seen or known by the incy-wincy human body-mind? Or is the God of gone beyond just another grand idea born of imaginary dreaming, fantasy, or actual realization? Who is you? What is I? What is a this? What is a that? Who is I without a you? Who are you without an I? When you are no longer you, but another I referring to another you? Truly, neither an I nor a you make any sense whatsoever. What is an idea of an idea? Who is an idea of an idea? At what level is an idea real? Who has the right idea? Who has the ultimate idea? What recognizes an idea? But then no idea makes any sense. Talking makes no sense whatsoever. Only the compassion of silence makes sense. So huge is this rare sense of infinite silence as it is, whose realization is the manifested radiance of zero, the fullness of heart, and the boundlessness of ecstatic space. From this where to nowhere is no leap or change at all. Just sit. Sitting is leaping. Breathing is being space. Space is the field of awareness. Awareness is subatomic intelligence. This all permeating intelligence is spirit. This all-pervasive, subtle, living spirit is the here now, nowhere, no thing, reality. When no reference appears, time has disappeared. Now is experienced as infinite openness. Such openness defies self-other programs. So you are alone. Subject-object programs burned expose a profound deepness of being really itself. Being reality itself. In sitting, appearances appear to arise. As sitting, nothing appears, and only nothing exists. Then the heart expands, deepens, and opens up. In the radical presence of radiant silence, there is no one who possesses, and nothing to have ever been possessed, including the self-reference body-mind of identification. The heart is allness intensified. The realization of no possession, nothing and no one to be possessed, owned or controlled, liberates awareness to the infinite zero of itself. Zero is awareness in itself, of itself, by itself, for itself, to itself, through itself, and as itself. Hugh. So what is practice?
Moving through karma to no karma.
What about the no karma of now? And nothing to move through. Too simple. Too radical. Too here now. Easier said than done. Beyond self-obsession, beyond thought obsession, beyond mind obsession, beyond body obsession, beyond world obsession, beyond everything obsession, and nothing obsession is and it is not a negative zero. Nothing negative to it. It means okay. Do the do. Without complication and reaction. Just do it. Or allow it to be done, say, from itself. The inner intelligence, the creative intelligence, or the super intelligence, the spiritual intelligence. Whatever is said could be very easily, very badly misunderstood. Who is liberated enough to let it be done by itself? Then it becomes a matter of who actually realizes what it is, or what it isn't, or what it is and what it isn't.
So there are certain things that need to be done in order to not be
Practice
aware.
implies doing and not doing. It implies clearing the house, clearance, practice, being clear. Theoretically being clear for light, being cleared of stuff, materialism, pain, suffering, darkness, and all manner of self-clung gravitational programs, and being ready for light. Rising above that and embracing what we are saying could be light to light, just clear light. Nature. So real, as soon as you stop and you relax into it, you know it for yourself. It's all there is. Once you stop and listen and hear and see into it, you know for yourself. You know for itself. And you need to learn how to work from that place once you get to that place, and it's real for you. It's the reality. It's the mixed reality. The self and the no-self are mixed. So there's much less self and much more doing and creative intelligence and much more happiness, peace. Because you're not your own enemy, so you don't attract enemies to do you in. As within, so without. As above, so below. Gone. Psh.
seems like the statement, or maybe even the desire, making the world more spiritual, is entirely self-contradictory. Like within that statement, nothing makes sense. One does not make the world more spiritual.
Well, basically the world is already made. There's not a hell of a lot you can add to what it is as already created. Right. Mhm. So you can offer your self stuff to it, right, and it will absorb it, and it may not change anything. Depends on what you're doing, to whom, under what conditions, which enables you to experience what the response is. Okay. If we're talking about practice as being an opportunity to enter a state of clearness, see, suffering lessness, getting the heart clear. So it's really not about going into states of consciousness as much as healing the body-mind, relieving it of imaginary darkness. Psychic darkness, physical darkness, from culture, from people, from family, from friends, from relations, right? As source of suffering, not solution, but source. Oh, you need a new friend. You need more relations. Oh, you need a better relation. Relations garbage. Saying it is encouragement to suck garbage from others. And we get into the mutual garbage sucking correspondence. As soon as the mouth opens, garbage is coming out. The ear's getting garbage. I heard garbage. I see, I perceive, I smell, I feel, I touch. Garbage. I know garbage. Materialism. Garbage. And thus, from that viewpoint, people suffer. Going beyond that viewpoint, entering more the lighter side of it, the suffering less side, the truer side, the spiritual side, non-material side, which is inconceivable to most beings. And then you start to see this whole thing is not suffering. Because you've reached the level of no suffering for real, and you don't want to have anything to do with suffering in a sense, because you know it all too well as pain. Imaginary and assumed pain. Self-created pain. Borrowed, see, and reinforced and re-empowered pain. See. It's not bad. But the result is there. Whatever the result is. Is it no pain? Is it enlightenment? Is that the result where you're so happy you're beyond yourself completely? Right? You're 10 feet off the ground, so to speak, in bliss. Floating in space. The idea is to realize the bliss body while you're here. In the midst of every body, come into the nobody of bliss. Light to light. It's not imaginary, it's not theoretical. But for many, it's inconceivable. So forget about it. Remember that. The flower of aloneness. The absence of self is the nonsense of objectivity. What is the purpose of definition? What is the result of realization? What is the basis of fire wisdom? Why is the heart perception of the universe realized as no universe? Why is such a radical perception the flower of selfless, blissful aloneness? How can such wisdom be born of peace and produce hot fire sound? Hot fire sound is spontaneously risen, gentle fire wisdom. What is wrong with death that is right with life? What is wrong with life that is right with death? The ensoundment of hue is self-arisen wisdom and catastrophic release. Boom. Pfft. Destroys all concepts. Pfft. Gone means karmic life lacks existence, a black hole of no results, a white hole of too many results. As a result, what is yours, only when it is not yours. This means Buddha does not own any Dharma. Buddha does not teach any Dharma. Buddha is beyond Dharma. As such, Buddha, that one who awakens as thus gone, is no Buddha. Who practices the Dharma of always gone, hot fire sound? Obviously no one. The true Dharma, which is no Dharma, reveals, seek nothing, and everything and everyone will already be added unto you. Yes, the you of no you, the no who. The you who clings to anything clings to excrement. All clinging is excrement. The clinger is excrement. Clinging is excrement. What is clung to is excrement. Therefore, cling to nothing. Crave nothing, desire nothing, attach to nothing, perceive nothing, taste nothing, hear nothing, see nothing, know nothing, be nothing, seek nothing. Only nothing is knowing. Only nothing is realization. Only nothing is true. Only nothing is peace. Only nothing is spirit. Only nothing is practice. And only no one accomplishes it. As to whatever the self is, has been, or will be in terms of identification, definition, or limitation, be deaf to it, be dumb to it, be blind to it, be dead to it altogether. Rather beg for the Guru burn of fire wisdom, receive direct instruction and apply such to exhaustion, to death and beyond death, into the afterlife, beyond the future life. Wherever anyone can find fault, what you find is your own fault. Own your own faultness. There is not a fault anywhere else. While there is no fault outside, there is no perfection outside. Both fault and perfection are your own mind. However, beyond fault and perfection is another perfection beyond perfection. And this perfection is always deep inside, psychic, spiritual essence. Always here now, always first, and always foremost. Why ignore it? Why not realize it? It is reality. Why ignore it? It is own self-realized reality. How can anyone ignore it? It can't be ignored. It is the all-knowing nothing of itself, the hard basis of this very instruction, revelation, meditation, and burn. The only true and great romance is the one of realization. Please fall in love with realization. Only romance realization. Only commune with realization. Only intercourse with realization. Only mix your seed chemistry and atoms with realization. Only realization is worth the sweat, the grind, the huff and the puff. Very well put. Only realization is worth anything. Only this realization is worth the great nothing, the great ah, the great ooh, the great and the great hue. Knowing nothing is realization. Realizing realization transcends realization. Such realization is no realization, and as such is called all-knowing nothing. All relations are impermanent and appear to disappear and transform. Know this and suffer no change. Suffer no change and suffer no one. Those who suffer change are angry. Why be destroyed by painful anger? Suffer neither change nor no change. Transcend anger, be at rest. and peacefully heal all beings. Some can claim that realization is a form of communion. Communion with what? Light. Intercoursing then with realization is atom to atom. Subatomicness to subatomicness. See, with subatomicness. See. To the degree of no separation, no other. Just done. Gone. Gone into done forever. Done and thus gone forever. Tathagata. Gone to peace. That should be first, not an idea for the end of your life. Because you decide that you may be becoming spiritual at that point, and so you need to realize your spirituality. You need to end your life properly. A cloud of smoke or angelic appearance. So, good practice is abiding in the now, as the now. Beyond time, space, energy, matter, universe, mind, and so on. And this is an act of the truly creative aspect of the spirit. Recreating itself as light. Only light, infinitely light. So it doesn't matter what genre of music you play or are interested in. This is the basis of your being. This is the basis of life itself. This is the true nature out of which everything seems to happen. This is the nothing that happens infinitely. Everywhere. Appearing and disappearing. Being born and dying simultaneously. This is the celebration of what it is. Be still, go deep in the universe as reality reveals itself. All pervasive light. Everywhere that it is and nowhere that it is not. It simply comes down to this. It is what it is. So in response to some of your other points and questions, there comes a time when you don't want an ordinary sexual orgasm. You don't want this kind of disappointment. No more disappointment. What? Exactly. You want the ongoing one, right? The continuous bliss of peace. And it has such a presence and flavor that when you're offered the physical component of it, you definitely will say, thank you, but no thank you. I'm already here. It's already present, right? My brain is already melting. My heart is always melting. And everything is now in order. Everything is good. Plateau. And this is not against the ordinary, but there's a difference. It's called regenerative, orgasmic conductivity for some. Comprehending the way is not the way. The way is beyond comprehension.
Yeah.
Hearing about the way is also not the way, as useful as it may be. Better to have heard it than not. But it is not the way. It's hearing about the way. The real way is the undoing of all ways.
Yeah.
The real music is the undoing of all music. There's no music. Nothing in the way.
Only the burn is the burn.
And nothing survives it. Who can withstand that? And so it realizes, whatever that means, speak concerning it. And on occasion, the word awakens itself in others. Because then the word and the realization are the same thing. And thus the word has power when the realization is what it is. Who cares? No one cares. Right. That's the beauty of it. No, only no one is supposed to care. And as such, there's not a trace of seeking and no suffering. And no seeker and no sufferer. And only the heart's fire has the way. It has its way. When it has its way, what else is there? So let the heart have its way.